I know I said I was going to be on hiatus, and I felt a little guilty that I needed to get something done and just get a video up, so I figured I'd do a little update of what's going on here in the shop. Behind me you see my 73 Beetle. This is what we talked about last week. I also showed off my pan for the 56 Oval, which you see over there. So I figured we'll talk about a couple other things that I've got going on, just so you guys know that I am making progress on some of the projects that you guys always ask questions about. So this might be one of those good videos that you can post questions to things that aren't covered in other videos. Here's one of the new projects that came in this week. This is a Volkswagen Thing chassis. I believe it's a 74. I'll have to check the VIN number on it to be certain. It's pretty much the same as a Beetle or a Karmann gear with some minor differences, like the axle beam and the front spindles are different, but we're not going to be messing with that stuff. But the obvious thing is the ball joints here are on top of the spindle, whereas the bottom one on a Beetle goes upwards into the spindle. So that's one of the big differences. Also, Things have reinforcements on the beam that attaches to the frame head, and I think, could be wrong, but I think that the beam is adjusted slightly differently too to make it a little taller. But the floor pans are pretty much Karmann gear floor pans. They're a little thicker from the factory. They came that way to be a little more durable. But this one has been disassembled, and behind me over here we have green floor pans that are going to be going into this. And you guys have seen me do this work before on a Karmann gear, so I'll probably make a quick video of it sometime this week or next week or whenever it is that I get to this project to get it going. But that's one of the things that just came in yesterday. So I'll be working on this for a friend of mine. We got a little friend deal going on. In the winter of 2015, just before I put the lawnmower away for the end of the year, my mower blew up. It actually exploded into a million pieces. The motor quite literally shook itself to pieces. The chassis was all cracked. I had been welding it for years, and it lasted me about 10. Anyway, I borrowed a mower from my friend for last year's cutting season, because she didn't need it. And then I actually gave it back to her earlier this season. And on the way home from dropping it off at her place, I found a mower deck in the trash. Here's a 6 horsepower engine that I had been given by my dad about 5 years ago. It was sitting in my garage. It was brand new. It had never been used at all. It didn't even have oil in it. So I went ahead and mounted it on the chassis that I found, put a brand new blade on it of the appropriate size, started it up, and on the first pull it fired right up. So I've got a mower for free. I've also got a 1967 Volkswagen Decklid here, which I scored for $5 at a local Volkswagen show. This thing was in horrible condition. It was just rusting to hell. It was full of holes, and I had to do some repairs to it, but it's going to become a piece of wall art. Behind it over there, probably recognize those heater channels that came out of the square back that I had rebuilt a few weeks back. That square back, the owner has it now. He's very pleased with it, and he's supposedly working on it as we speak. I've also started putting together a gas pump from an old compressor tank. I forget how many gallons it holds, 26 or something like that, but I wanted something that I could wheel around the yard for filling vehicles, lawnmowers, motorcycles, whatever I've got. Seems like my gas cans never seem to hold enough, so I put together something that's a little bit bigger here. I'll be giving some updates on this when I finish putting together how I put it together and what parts it consists of. That's a neat little side project there. And what is this that I spot over here covered in junk? Yes, that would be the one and only Doodle Bastard. This bike I took apart yesterday, and I ordered just about everything that I need for it to get this bike finished. Hopefully in the next couple weeks I will have this thing together. I would like to be using it as a pit bike in some of the upcoming little car shows. Making noise. Just got to make noise with the straight pipes on this thing. If you've been following my channel or the other channels that I have, you'll remember that this motor came out of the mini choppers that I used to have. Runs good. Sounds good. What had happened is I sold both mini choppers to a guy, and he broke the Kickstarter off, in one of the engines. That's what this motor is. So I helped him to take the motor out of one to put it into the other, and as payment he gave me the other motor, which he broke. This is the orange bike's motor in the blue bike. You can see it's running. And in this one, the starter sprag was also stripped out. But we'll get into that in the Doodle Bastard video later, because it had 3 bearings in it that engaged the starter sprag. I believe they were 10 millimeters each. They were barrel shaped. And when it would run, it would actually just eat the bearings alive, and it would cause the entire starter sprag to slip. You would hear the starter motor whirring. It would whir, and the starter sprag kind of like kind of sound without turning the engine over. Once in a while it would grip, and it would turn the motor over, but most of the time it didn't. I also needed a new carburetor. I lost the one that was on there. I don't know what the hell I did with this, so I ordered a new one. I had to change out the countershaft sprocket because the one that's on here, which I think is 14 teeth, is way too small for the gear ratio that I set up with the small wheel. Because remember, small wheels spin faster, so if I'm going to be running a smaller sprocket on the front, it's going to make the motor spin faster. So if the back wheel spins faster, the motor spins faster. It'll probably have a top speed of like 25 miles an hour. Tons of torque though, but no speed whatsoever. So I did some math, and I've calculated that it needs an 18-tooth sprocket for the front, and I was told that 18-tooth sprockets are not made for this bike. Well, I found an 18-tooth sprocket, and I will be installing one, despite everybody saying that they aren't made. I do have a curiosity, though, as to whether or not they're going to clear the engine case, and if it doesn't, I may have to actually do a little bit of grinding in here to make sure that it does fit properly. I have to find a sprocket cover, put it on there, too, and see if that fits properly with it. But I've got an 18, and if that does not work, I have a 17 also on the way. The 17 did work on my chopper. That one did fit just fine, and that allowed it to be at a good cruising speed. But anyway, I'll get into the math on that. We don't need to talk about this because this is not a Doodle Bastard video. This is just an update video. And behind it here in this cover, this would be the Oval. Yes, 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 the Oval. Ugh. Let's see here. That's the Oval. Alright. I'm not going to give you anything but a little teaser on this one. But the car is together. All those videos I've been uploading are actually older updates. But there she is. Why is this not staying up? Here it is. Oh. There's the Oval. More updates on that in the future. I don't know if you guys remember my Suzuki SV650, but it used to be black. And prior to that, some dope actually sprayed the entire bike over with red spray paint over the controls, the handlebars, even the gauges were covered in red paint. So anyway, I didn't like the black that was on there. It was chipped, the tank was dented, it looked like hell. So I took it apart and repainted it, and that's what you're seeing. Now, I've got the seat currently apart, and I've started pulling apart the wiring because I've got a short. It kills batteries when I turn it off rather quickly. In a couple days, the battery's dead. So I'm trying to find a short. So what I did was I connected a continuity checker to the positive and negative terminals, and I discovered that it was showing there was a load. So I've been tearing apart wires and things trying to find it. I have not found it yet, but that'll probably be a good subject for another video. But there's the SV650. It's green now. This is my spare bedroom. It's also my computer lab. As you can see, I've got all kinds of computer shit in here. There's the CR500. Yes, I will be doing some updates on that soon. I wanted to have it together for the end of August, and that may still happen. It doesn't need a whole lot. I just have not had the damn time. Now I have the money. Before I didn't have the money, and I had the time. Now I have the money, and I don't have the time. It's funny how that happens. But anyway, I'm going to start piecing this thing back together too, and hopefully we'll have something running on this soon. Well, I shouldn't say that. It does run. It does run. It really doesn't need a whole lot. I need to figure out how to mount the foot brackets. I need to hook up the cooling system, figure out some wiring. Finally now, because I've waited so long to get this project together, there are real-life LED headlights that use very, very low amounts of current. And this bike, you can get a 50-watt, the hell do they call it? A 50-watt generator for the flywheel that'll allow you to run power, but you can't run conventional light bulbs on it. It's just not enough juice, but LEDs will work just fine. So anyway, as I said, I wanted to give you a little update, so here's what we got, and I'm still using this stupid cell phone. I've been looking at a new camcorder, but if any of you have a good suggestion as to what model camcorder is good for you or that you like, I'll take your suggestions. I'd like to see what else is on the market. I'm considering buying a new one, and I know as soon as I buy the new one, the old one's going to turn up. That's just the way it goes. Skeeter's with me here, right, Skeeter? What you doing? She's going through a little molt right now. You can see the little feathers are blue growing in, and they're sore, so she's kind of in a little bit of a shitty mood. Isn't that right? Yeah, we still love you. But anyway, thanks you guys. I'm going to try to get a video up at least once a week with no excuses, and that's why I put up something and just put some updates as to some of the things that I've been doing on the side. So, stay tuned. Right, Skeeter? Right? Right, Skeeter? Yeah. You can find her YouTube channel at Skeeter the Duck. Right? Yeah.